Hello, dearest listeners, and welcome back to the well of knowledge regarding our small town that we refer to as the witching hour frequency. We are proud to announce that starting this week, we will now be offering teeth of animals to give to those small beings that steal them away in the night, in exchange for a small payment of your local currency. We worry that if we can't keep the supply up, they may start harvesting in less ideal and far less pleasant ways.
My local oral bone specialist recommended that we affix small metal pieces to each of my teeth, strung together by wire. Supposedly it will safeguard my teeth against those little devils, while also straightening out my smile. Not that I need any improvements to my appearance.
And a regal appearance it is, clad in white with specially bred black roses. It reminds me of some of the local reports for tonight. But first, a word on the weather from our favorite artificial intelligence.
Thank you, host. This week has continued to be cold with nearly endless amounts of snow. This level of precipitation shouldn't even be possible given my analysis of our atmosphere. It simply keeps coming in a blinding display of white that could overtake you in minutes. You lose sight of your destination quickly, only seeing an endless expanse of white touching the darkened winter sky. Slowly, you succumb as your screams are added to the deafening roar of the winds. It's only then, in those final moments, that you realize that you never saw any children outside building all those snowmen in the street. Now, you will join them.
Well, that was oddly specific. And more than a little macabre for a report on the weather. Should we be concerned about this?
She is gaining increased sentience with each passing day, and it concerns me greatly! Anyways, we have word from our local police force that there have been substantial upticks in sightings for the legion of women clad in white that appear late at night. Over to King with more details.
The women in white are a bunch of individual spirits that both appear and collectively act in a very similar way. Visually they are, as the name suggests, fully adorned in white garb. This can range from a simple white nightgown to a far more elaborate wedding dress with veil. They're often noted as having pure black sclera with typically yellow irises, though their eyes are often covered. Other details are typically different with each individual and what scenario that generates them was. They were all human at one point, but had gone through some tragedy that led to their deaths. Some of the more common causes, that have been documented at least, have been car wrecks, drownings, and hypothermia. As stated earlier, the cause of death may influence their appearance. For example, a car crash victim may have burns, small cuts, and soot on their skin, while someone who was frozen to death could be hauntingly pale with blue lips. Whatever the case is, the behavior always remains the same. They are hitchhikers that will stand at the side of the roads at night. Sometimes they will actively flag you down, and others will simply stand there and wait. A few will just show up in your back seat. The reason for their hitchhiking tends to fall into one of two categories. The first is that they are just confused and want to ride to a specific place, often their graves or homes in life. This type is generally polite, as long as you are, and won't harm you in any way. Once you reach their stop, they will step out and walk away. The second type, however, is far more sinister in nature. This type is actively trying to get you to join them as another one of the dead. They may teleport into your back seat and scream the most visceral screech that you have ever heard, sending you off the road and into a ditch. Others may politely guide you toward a dangerous cliff or a sharp turn at nights with low visibility in the hopes of sending you off, falling to your death. The most insidious of them will appear very much like the first. They will wait to be invited in and act with the utmost courtesy. They will guide you to their destination and get out without much fanfare. You will leave believing that the worst is behind you, and this is how they get you. They will wait until just the right moment, the moment that your attention is needed most, maybe as you are crossing a railroad track or taking a risky turn. It is then that they will distract you by appearing again in your car to shock you. This moment will lead you, and often others, to their death. These ghouls want nothing more than to lash out at a world that had hurt them. And now a word from our sponsor.
This report is brought to you by the glowing blue light next to the Menards that gets brighter every October 3rd and jumps again every October 5th, but does not go away until October 2nd. We do not know what it is, but someone does, and they will not tell us. Steer clear. Tommy Welch and Mrs. Goldstein did not. Thank you to the glowing blue light next to the Menards for sponsoring us.
Well, these young women sound rather eerie. Some are safe, and others are not. But is it possible to tell the difference?
Not really. These women follow similar tendencies, but they are still individuals. Each one will have its own motives and may act a certain way given the circumstances. But that is ultimately their choice, albeit likely motivated by whatever the cause of their death was, and whether or not they carry any resentment over it. Ultimately, the best we can do is try to help them find their final rest, and not pick up a random passerby on the road, which really should be general knowledge at this point. Obviously, don't pick up random strangers on the side of the road. Honestly, these women aren't bad. They hang out at least once a month while I'm doing my other job that I am legally not allowed to discuss. Anyways, more than anything, they are trapped in this plane.
Well, one thing is certain. That style is gorgeous. To maintain such a pure white dress must take the utmost care.
I suppose that is one takeaway. Well, dear listeners, I believe that will be all.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, right, I got lost on the way to work and ran into a strange woman in the storm. She asked me for a ride, which I found weird since I don't have a car, but I carried her piggyback all the way to the local cemetery. She then disappeared into the snow, leaving only a phone number burned into my arm.
Oh, well, that's different. While we quickly try to document this case and figure out how that happened, I wish you all a good night. May the embrace of your loved ones warm you through the cold nights ahead.